There are some very real and very serious dramas going on at the Volkswagen Group. They have been now for, well over 12 months. For some bizarre reason, the US media, the global media, has barely reported on it. In fact, I've reported on those issues more than they have, probably put together. Maybe not, but you get my point. Well, there was a farcical, dramatic, ridiculous meeting that just went on recently, and it shows that Volkswagen didn't solve all its issues. In fact, it didn't solve any of its issues by firing its previous CEO, Herbert Diess. Firing him did nothing. In fact, firing him and then firing pretty much the entire management board of their software unit did nothing as well. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's face the facts here. Volkswagen is becoming, to some degree, a Chinese car company. When you outsource your software to a Chinese company that you invested billions of dollars into, when you invest billions of dollars into a Chinese joint venture with a battery company, when you invest billions of dollars into having 3 joint ventures with Chinese car companies building your cars for you, at what point do you actually become a Chinese car company? Now, this doesn't really bother me all that much, to be honest, but it's still worth pointing out the facts here. If Tesla had been doing this, what exactly do you think the media would be saying about Tesla? Would Tesla be a Chinese car company owned by the Chinese government that the president of China would be dictating the control over, therefore threatening the stability of the planet? Probably. Let's be frank, let's be honest. The media and the many clickbaiters out there would be saying something along those lines. Now, I said Volkswagen would likely fire Herbert Diess. They did. Why did they do it? Well, because there's a schism, there's division between primarily the union and the leadership at Volkswagen. Now, it's been reported that Volkswagen's investor meeting has descended into chaos as concerns from investors and activists regarding electrification have increased. And part of it is to do with Volkswagen's factory in China. Media say they believe there's things going on there that, well, could be very bad. Now, I don't know if this is true. This is just what the media are speculating on at the moment. Volkswagen Group has been one of the many companies rebuked over the past year for its electrification plans, some of which people say are not aggressive enough. The funny thing is, if you're in Germany, you can't win. I mean, Mercedes is saying we're going to go all EV. We're going all in on EVs by 2030. Now, I believe about 12.5% of Mercedes' current vehicle sales worldwide are fully electric, which means they're the first loser, basically. I mean, okay, I shouldn't put it that way. Let's be more positive. Come on. Basically, what that means is Mercedes is selling a higher percentage of EVs as a proportion of their current vehicle sales than any other legacy automaker. That's a good thing. I think it is. However, the German unions and the German government, the German population, the media are all targeting them, saying Mercedes, they're all in on EVs and this is a disastrous position. This is a disastrous thing to do. And then they're doing the opposite to Volkswagen. They're saying Volkswagen Group, they're not making enough EVs. They're not taking them seriously enough. Now, I get the point. I mean, one of the problems that's been raised by the media, they're saying Herbert Diess had a good plan. He was planning to do the Trinity project. This is a new platform, a new EV platform. Volkswagen's current EV platform, even their own engineers admit it's too heavy. It is. It's ludicrously heavy. For some of its models, for example, the ID3. Why is the ID3 heavier than a Tesla Model 3, which is a much bigger car? ID3 is about the same weight as a Tesla Model Y, which is 2 sizes bigger. It's enormous in comparison, and yet they're the same weight. Well, it all comes down to the MEB platform. Now, I'm not going to get into that in a different video, but that's basically what it comes down to. And what it is that the Volkswagen Group cancelled the decision to make the new EV platform called the Trinity project. They're going to somehow improve the current platform. I mean, is that the best thing to do? Well, time will tell. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments. Now, with this company's stock continuing its 2-year decline, investors are getting angry. They're saying, you're not doing enough. What are these investors thinking? I mean, this is the Volkswagen Group. It's like the Titanic. It's like a massive boat. It's the Titanic, and it's got 187 billion US dollars of debt. It's about to spend, well, it's in the process of spending $200 billion on electrifying its most of its car fleet by 2030. That's going to mean it'll have more debt, probably, than any company in the history of the planet. Reuters says these concerns came to a head today with activists and investors sharing their displeasure with the company's leadership at an investor meeting this morning. In fact, someone had a cake thrown at their head. Seriously, like this is, you can't make this stuff up. It's quite funny, actually. Primary concerns took center stage at the investor meeting in Germany when investors and protesters raised concerns about alleged forced labor at a Volkswagen production facility in China. These concerns mounted with institutional investors calling for an independent review of the facility and protesters storming the meeting area and throwing a cake at the Volkswagen leadership. In fact, it was thrown at Volkswagen's chairman, Hans-Dieter Poetsch, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, anyway, whatever. And the dude has got some very impressive reflexes, because whoever threw it, it was going to land this thing was going to land smack in his face. It was literally headed right for his face. Right at the last second, he ducked, and he had the funniest look on his face, but he ducked so well. This dude has some good reflexes for an old guy. I mean, he looks like he's about 100 years old, but he's got the reflexes of a 15-year-old. I was amazed by it, in fact. Anyway, Volkswagen said in the shareholder meeting that a company representative visited the plant earlier this year and found no evidence of forced labor. Now, to be fair, Volkswagen would have no idea. It's not even their plant. I mean, they say it is. This is what Legacy Auto have been doing for years and years and years now, right? Whatever sales go down in China, they all claim to themselves. They say, look at our sales. The Toyota does this. Look at our sales. We sold 10 million cars this year, of course, of which, 2 million might be in China, but it's a joint venture partnership. It'd be like, let's say that every single car Tesla made was made with a joint venture partner, which they own 50%, the partner owned 50%, and Tesla was like, no, all the car sales are all for us. No, we claim all of them. JAC, who made them, and they own 50%, they get nothing. They don't get any sales. I've made videos about this in the past. I don't know why no one called. I'm the only person in the world saying this. It doesn't make sense. It's mental. It's like, imagine that I went to a partnership with you, whoever you are watching this right now. You and I had a 50-50 partnership, and I claimed all the credit, all the sales, all for me, even though you own 50% of the company. Now, the truth is, you, not me, are the ones, other company making the car. This is the situation with Volkswagen. An outside company is their joint venture partner. Volkswagen doesn't make the cars. That Chinese company makes the cars. That's why Volkswagen is saying, the media says there's forced labor. Well, we haven't been to that place for a while. Let's go check it out, guys. They don't know. That's the reality here. The second primary concern was focused on China and Volkswagen's market position within the world's second largest economy. Investors were keen to highlight that competition, particularly from Tesla and BYD and, emerging companies. This is the worry here, right? This is the real worry. I don't think people realize this. Tesla and BYD, they're a known commodity. We all know what they are. We know what they're doing. But what I think investors should be concerned about, and if they're not, then they're idiots for investing in Volkswagen Group, because you need to know what you're investing in, is that the Volkswagen Group and every other legacy automaker is not just being disrupted by Tesla and BYD. That we understand what's happening there. We see their sales. The problem is this: brand new companies popping up, not brand new, but apparently brand new. I mean, we only hear about them, when they start to really eat into Volkswagen Group, Nissan, Toyota, Mazda, Subaru, Mitsubishi, when they start to really eat into those sales. What I mean is this: Aeon. Have you heard of Aeon? Yeah. I mean, if you've been watching the channel, you probably have, but the reality is 99% of investors wouldn't have a clue who Aeon are, right? And Aeon sell more EVs every single month than the Volkswagen Group. But that's new. Now, if this was old, if Aeon had been in existence since 2004, and they were selling more EVs than Volkswagen since Volkswagen even started making EVs, it probably wouldn't mean much. But here's the problem: they didn't. This is a pretty new company, and Aeon is selling EVs, and their EV sales are going up like this. And the Volkswagen Group's EV sales are doing diddly squat in China, but they're discounting them. They're selling them cheap. and people still aren't buying them. Why? Because they're just not that good. Yeah, they're okay. I mean, they're all right for Western markets where we're not as demanding, but in China where they have 7,000 different options, they're not really all that compelling. So investors now are starting to get worried. They're starting to say, well, Volkswagen Group, we're losing market share in China. That's where we make historically 50% of our profit, 40% of our sales, and 50% of our profit. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'm thinking to myself, investors, why do you not actually do some research? The writing's been on the wall for a long time. There's nothing that Volkswagen Group can do. It's game over. Defending the company's position, Volkswagen CEO Oliver Bloom said the automaker is on track to continue to hold its Chinese market position well into the future and will be looking to grow its sales in the coming months by tailoring to Chinese tastes and building local partnerships. Wow, that is preposterous. Okay, if this guy was my staff member and he came out and made that comment, I would fire him on the spot. Because it's one thing to be optimistic. Optimism is fantastic. You need optimism. But flat out lying is a completely different issue. And Oliver Bloom is unquestionably lying. He knows there is exactly 0% chance of the Volkswagen Group holding its current market share in China. It's a physical impossibility. Even if the company was directed by Elon Musk, not even Elon Musk could turn the company around. There is zero chance. Is it a terrible company? No, but look what they're competing against. They're competing against an emerging industry which has so many brilliant minds in it that have already created brilliant products that the Volkswagen Group don't have. They don't have those engineers. They don't have those products. They don't have that software. What are they going to do? They can't pull a Houdini. There's no magic here. He knows this. Oliver Bloom knows this. And if he doesn't, he should be fired for not knowing it. The third and final concern regarding Volkswagen's overall electrification strategy, most prominently protesters glued themselves to the road outside the meeting location, demanding Volkswagen accelerate its EV adoption to reduce its carbon footprint. Now, investors, of course, noted that Volkswagen's shrinking market position in China, according to Teslarati, and the United States could be aided by an increased focus on EV offerings that consumers want to buy. Following the meeting, Volkswagen's stock price continued to collapse. Now, the comments about the United States. Volkswagen sales have actually begun to pick up in the US because they're making EVs in the US. They don't have to contend against 100 electric car companies. And realistically, those EVs qualify for the tax incentives. Very few other cars qualify. Volkswagen Group is in an okay position in the US. I don't see their market share shrinking. If anything, they'll probably gain market share against other companies that are not interested in EVs in the US. Just token speech bubbles and just garbage where the media just makes up stuff. You know, we're investing in this, we're investing in that, and nothing happens. Toyota, Mazda, Subaru, Nissan. You see the point. None of them are doing what Volkswagen Group are doing in the United States. Volkswagen is investing in batteries in the US. They're investing a lot in the United States. I think the Volkswagen Group internally are saying, okay, China's finished. What do we do? The US. Take some market share in the United States. That's a market that we can actually get some market share. We can gain our sales in the US. China is just way too hard. That, I believe, is what's happening. And they probably should just be honest and just say that that's what their strategy is, because it's very obvious if you look at their investments. Look at their actual sales this year in China versus the US. One of them is holding or going up a little bit. The other is going down at a very quick pace. You know what? I've been saying for a long time now, don't hold a stock position. I can't say this to Australians or I'll be fined $400,000. So if you're Australian, just block your ears. Don't hold a stock position in a legacy automaker. If you want to park your money somewhere, park it in Microsoft. If you want something that you think is going to be safer, just buy a company that you basically buy the index, for example. But for goodness sake, buying a legacy automaker right now, right in the midst of the biggest disruption in the history of the automotive industry, it's mind-blowingly stupid. I've got no sympathy for these investors. I mean, if you're concerned you've just lost 50% of your investment, which you probably have, then Sell now. Move on. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.